I'll go around stuff. Today's topic is car oil change frequency. Uh, Once upon a time, cars used petroleum based oil for the oil that went into the car to lubricate the engine. And it was generally considered that you needed to change the oil every 3,000 miles. And a lot of people still do that every 3,000 miles. That's what's in their head. They do an oil change every 3,000 miles. Now, over the years, car manufacturers have shifted over to what's called synthetic oil, which is usually refined propane or natural gas, one or the other, whatever it is. And it has a much longer life. It is a special, doesn't doesn't have the same properties as regular old petroleum-based oil, and it protects your engine much better. So typically, synthetic oils can last 10 or 15,000 miles before an oil change. Some cars have a built-in, if you will, timer on oil. So when the oil gets changed, the timer gets reset, and it'll come up and give you a signal when it's time to change the oil again. It is not based on any kind of analysis of the oil. Uh, it's just a timer. It's miles gone. So that's okay if you use that, and when it comes up, you have your oil changed. My problem with that is that if you don't drive a lot, uh, the car doesn't really get, especially for short trips, the car doesn't really get hot enough to like evaporate or boil out any kind of oil, water that gets as a side component of combustion in the cylinders and will accumulate in the oil pan. And you don't want that. So what I do is once a year, no matter what the mileage is, I replace the oil. Now I have an old BMW Z3, and it has a built-in counter, and it's set for 15,000 miles. Okay, well, that car maybe gets driven 3,000 miles a year, but on its safety inspection date, which is once a year, I change the oil in it. Oil is the lifeblood of your engine. I do not skimp on oil because that is everything to keeping a healthy engine. Okay, so the frequency that you change your oil, if you're okay with what the your gauge, whatever alert that you get, whatever it's set at, and you can change those. In my Ford Edge, I can change the frequency of that alert to 5,000 or 7,500 or 10,000 miles or something, and it will alert me when that period of time is up. I do the same thing on the Ford Edge. When it gets the safety inspection, I change the oil in a matter of mileage. And it typically has about 5,000 miles on it at that time. And it's just, okay, you're wasting some money because you could probably go 10,000. I don't like doing that. A car doesn't do it, does so many short trips as opposed to long trips. So anyway, if you are still stuck on a 3,000 mile oil change issue, and older cars in general can support synthetic motor oil. I don't think there's any real problem with it, but you could check in your owner's manual if you have an older car and you want to go to synthetic. It's probably safe to do so, and then pick whatever oil change frequency you want. But by and large, the 3,000 miles has gone away. If you rely on your dashboard to give you an indication when it's time to replace oil, fine. If you're happy with that, whatever it is, 5,000, 10,000. I would definitely never go 15,000 miles on an oil change. I had a friend once who was helping another friend, and they had an old Subaru, and wasn't running right or something. And my friend asked about when was the last time he changed oil, and the guy says, "Changed oil? You have to change oil in this?" He had put 100,000 miles on that Subaru without ever changing oil, and I just can't imagine that. I had a BMW X5. I wound up having to take the oil pan off at about 140,000 miles or so, and it was absolutely clean. There was no sludge, there was no grime, no nothing in that oil pan after 150,000 miles of synthetic oil use. And I have seen oil pans that just are full of sludge with the old uh, petroleum based oil. Okay, so just a quick one on oil change frequency. Again, 3,000 miles is not a deal anymore. If your dealer says, "Oh, well, you came in for safety inspection, you might as well get your oil changed," if not a bad idea if you don't do it yourself. Okay, every year change the oil, no matter what, how many miles you got on it. Otherwise, if you're doing it yourself, you can pick whatever you want. I certainly on the Ford, I get about 5 to 6,000 miles on it in one year. So that's more than the three, but it's less than what the oil says. And oil will tell you this is good for 10,000 miles. This is good for 15,000 miles. That may be true. I'm not trusting it. That's all I got for today. Today is the 2nd of April, 2026. This is just on oil change frequency. Hopefully, you know all about it. Cars get more fancy. I think I had a friend who has a newer BMW. It does not even have an oil dipstick, so you can check the oil. And if you don't check the oil in yours and you do have a dipstick, I suggest you do check it periodically, every quarter or something. You'll see oil drops on your garage floor. You know it's been leaking. Enough of this Uncle Ron stuff. I hope it helps somebody. It's not a long one.